without a shadow of a doubt, is
Oh
the
no, I think
crooked
it's cool.
show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone, minus the music tonight. I'm taking care of some political business. It's a strategy session because we're running 12 months running for this school board position. So my man Donovan Sadiq is in the building, the Queen Demetra K, and I'm the 5-star general. I'm going to start it off by saying that I hear a bunch of whining and complaining in the city of Houston in regards to the crime. Murder rate is up 45% more than it was last year. And the only thing that I can tell you is you voted them people in. They had no clue about what they were going to do. They don't give a damn about the crime rate. So you're going to have to deal with it, man. You got to think about this before you put certain people in office that just ain't going to do anything. And, right now it's very, very dangerous in the city of Houston. So, walk softly but carry a big stick. That's all I can tell you. Donovan, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, in the news today, it looks like President Donald Trump has basically conceded. All his avenues have been shut down. They ratified the election up in Michigan. There's no feasible pathway for him to seek the presidency now. Looks like Biden is going to be going in there. At the same time, as he goes in there, he fired that one crazy lawyer he had, that female lawyer that said things are biblical and it's the end of the world, and they've got all this proof, and it's just been a national embarrassment on what this man has done. But in regards to the election, and Joe Biden is coming in, he has started to fill his cabinet with corporate lobbyists and Wall Street people. I mean, Rob Emanuel, how would you even consider Rob Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, as even remotely into a cabinet that is supposed to be this new wherewithal type thing? So it's going to get more interesting. And the reason why we bring this stuff up is because it affects you guys. And there's so many people that are asleep that they don't even realize that they're voting against their own interests. So we'll keep you posted with that. And by the way, the Dallas Cowboys are still in second place, NFC East. Major?
Well, let me say this here about his cabinet. Kind of look like Obama's cabinet. They just in different positions. But we did say he was going to do that.
Yeah, now, some people might be happy that it looks like Obama's cabinet, because a lot of people were hanging on to the Obama era, if you will, thinking that if Joe Biden got elected, he would bring back the feeling that the Obama administration had, and, all of that. And so for a lot of people, maybe it's not a bad thing, but they just don't know that it's not actually a good thing, because like Donovan said, there are a lot of corporate Democrats, same old, that did absolutely nothing for Black people when Obama was in office. But hey, keep voting for oppression. And speaking of which, I had the opportunity to drive in certain neighborhoods in Houston. I'm still kind of, feeling my way around. And I drove through Acres Homes, and and I noticed that some of Window Champion signs were still up. There's a few of them. And, I said, what a shame that they didn't elect him for this area. Because as I'm driving by, it's just like, wow. Like the reputation that they have.
You just getting here. Keep driving.
I did. And I was like, why do people continue to vote for the same old? Like, what was Sheila Jackson Lee doing that you loved? There's garbage everywhere. There's pothole. I mean, it's just like houses that are completely just on the main streets, dilapidated. Or free turkey. There's some seasoning on it. I mean, what?
Say, make your way over to our side of town. Make sure when you come, you got a spare tire and some extra axles for your car, because you're going to tear your shit up over here.
I just would love to speak to anybody who lives in those areas And they voted for Sheila Jackson Lee. Why? What is she doing that you love? That you can
wait. Well, what is she gonna promise to do? Since you saw this, I'm sure one of her campaign things was, I'm gonna clean up the neighborhood, right?
I would like to say I'm baffled. I'm not completely baffled, but it's just like, really? You didn't want nothing, try anything new, huh? To see if it would work, or like Gary.
Hey, you get what you vote for, man. But like I say, you just getting here. Welcome to the land of the trail. Make your way down 45, and we got an eye opener for you over here. I promise you, when you come over here, ride through the neighborhood where the turkey leg hut at. I promise you're going to get an eye opener, man. Say, I'm talking to a single mom today. She was telling me about the challenges that she has raising her son. And of course, I offered to be a mentor if that's what I need to be, and would be glad to help her, because how hard is it for a single mom to raise a boy in this climate nowadays, especially when you have fathers that are not setting the example. So tonight, guys, I'm going to tell you a new ass, and I'm going to ride with the ladies on this one tonight. I mean, talking to this mom, I felt heartbroken, to hear the stories of how her child talks to her, or how the father, buys weed for the child, and I mean, you got to understand, I mean, this is a woman that doesn't want anything to happen to her child. But if the examples are not set, especially if you got both parents in your life, but the male is not doing what he needs to do, like I told her, and I tell the world, this father is setting this child up to either get killed or either end up in jail, because that's the only two options when it comes down to it. So, Donovan, why is it so tough, especially for an African American mom, a single mom, to raise her boys in this climate?
Well, it goes back to the difference of the species. I mean, women are women and men are men. It's like when women complain about, why do men have to sleep and cheat and want to be with other women. If you look at any other species of animals, to propagate the population, that is what's pre-programmed in us. So, I mean, just about all men want to sleep with multiple women. That's just something that's programmed in us. So a woman has her role and a man has his role, correct? So it is damn near impossible. We are not the same. I don't know why people keep talking this bullshit. It's like the NBA and the WNBA. You had WNBA players talking about, what's her name? Sue Bird. She's got 4 championships. She's been in the league just as long as LeBron James, and she makes super significantly less than LeBron James. 2 different games. WNBA has a very bad product. I'm not saying women can't ball, but I guarantee you, if they would lower that rim about 3 inches, they'd get more people to come and see their product. 2 different things. Yeah, we might look the same. We got 2 arms, we got 2 legs. We're not the same. We don't have the same issues. So when a woman is having a problem raising a young man, the first teacher is the woman. You guys might agree, you might disagree with this, but the fact of the matter is that young man, other than that young woman, that young girl, because she could emulate her mom all the way up until she's an adult and even past that. But when that young man gets to about 9 or 10 years old, they need their father to emulate what a man is. And that woman cannot teach that. That's just my opinion.
It's amazing that you said that about sleeping with multiple people. I read an article from T.I. that said black women don't like messing with black men unless they got a bunch of bitches. Hey, when I saw it, I'm like, what is this dude drinking over here, man?
Well, you know what? There's some truth to that, because you would think the alpha male syndrome. In the animal kingdom, the alpha male does all the mating, no matter what happens, right? Now, in the hood, who'd everybody have a baby with? The same dude, who's probably the leader of the community, whatever. The same dude in the community has babies by multiple women in the community. So there's got to be some truth to it.
Demetra?
All right, first, I want to address the nonsense of T.I. I think T.I. is speaking from his own experiences. I've never met a woman. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I personally never met a woman who says, "Ooh, I just love a man with a whole bunch of other women." That's bullshit. And that's because that's how T.I. gets down. He likes to take Tiny through the stuff by having a whole bunch of different women popping up all over Instagram and this, that, and the other, saying she slept with T.I. So no, I mean, I think he's projecting what he is actually doing to his woman. But no woman enjoys that. I think a lot of women who in those cases settle with being with a man with a bunch of women, it's just, Betty Wright said it the best. I'd rather have a piece of a man than no man at all. I'm not saying it's right, but some women are like, just take me, for example. Every man that I've been with, except the one I'm with now, is cheating on me. Like, just for whatever reason, they're just cheating on. Oh, y'all gave me the spotlight, huh? Has cheated on me. So a lot of men, a lot of women are just like, you know what? He ain't perfect. Whatever. I'll take it for now. Right now, let's go back to the woman that you said says she's a single mom and her son talks to her all kind of crazy. Maybe, just maybe, it's her. Because I know a lot of single women and single mothers who have boys that will put a foot to his backside if she needed to. I was, privileged with raising two of my nephews, and I never allowed all of that talking back to me and, oh, what am I going to do? Because I back your ass up into a wall with a quickness if you want to get silly with me. So I'm not saying it's her, but I'm saying maybe it's her. Now, there's also the issue of where's his dad? Is his dad just completely missing? And a lot of times too, and I'm just going to speak this out there. A lot of times women, not all, but some single mothers don't want the daddy involved. To me, the reasonable thing would be, hey, let's call your daddy. Maybe it's time for you to go live with him, and so he can instill something inside of you. But a lot of mothers, they don't want that. They want to be able to, take care of it on their own. They don't want the dad involved. So I think, we need to get to the bottom of, is it her or is there another situation? Because like I said, I know a lot of single mothers who sons don't talk to them that way.
Well, I tell you what, my mama was 99 pounds at her heaviest and struck the fear of God in me. She didn't play them games. Let me tell you where we dropping the ball at. See, it's a bunch of people that mess black kids up and mess black parents up, but we don't want to admit it. Oprah messed you up as a parent. Phil Donahue, Jerry Springer messed you up as a parent. Because you can be a single mom and raise boys and they turn out just perfect. But if you a single mom and you putting up with that 15, 16-year-old bullshit, that's exactly what you're going to get. Mine can be 42 years old and I can be 60-something. And I'll put my foot in your ass with the help of a cane. Don't disrespect me as a parent. You should not put up with disrespect from your children. That's what it boils down to. And please stop being afraid of CPS. Now, this lady, she's a very, very, what can I say? She own it. The father is, they're separated, so they're co-parenting. It's just when the kid goes to the father, he puts all this crazy shit in his head. And if she do this to you, you let me know. I'ma call these people. See, you couldn't be my baby mama. I see my little mama on here tonight, Angela. I want to let you know, baby. Look, me and you, fuck around and have a little baby, man. Little fat. I'm gonna tell you now, when he go to your house, don't send him back home with all that foolishness. Cause I'm gonna bust his head to the fat meat. Cause I ain't gonna play them games with him. Say, being a parent is not a hard job. You have to be consistent. You have to mean what you say. You see what I'm saying? You have to mean what you say, and you have to issue out tough love. Tough love is the reason that you see these great strengths. Because that 99-pound woman didn't play them games. Matter of fact, it wasn't even about a conversation with her. She could look at me a certain way and I knew to go sit my ass down somewhere. You see what I'm saying? But see, what y'all done did, you done made your children your friends. Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody ain't your partner. I ain't my friend. I ain't my kid partner. Stop being their goddamn friends and start being their parents. Then they'll feel like you the devil, but you're raising them the right way. See, we can't keep blaming the system once they get in the system or the system mess it over. No, as a parent, put your goddamn foot down and do what you need to do. So if you want to go over here and listen to your daddy, cool. But when you come back over here, this ass whooping central. This way you're going to get your ass tore up. So that shit you do at your dad's house or at your mama's house, don't come back over here and do it. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to give you some important numbers. And I only need to give you one if you're my child. The number to 911. You're going to need it if you disrespect me as a parent. You can come arrest me in my front yard. I don't give a damn. But the state of Texas is not going to tell me how to raise my child. And that's all it boils down to, Donald.
I agree with that. But, here's the thing. You have two people, relationship doesn't work out, but you have a child between you. What I don't understand is, even though the child might go to the daddy or the mom or, whoever's the custodial parent, that's fine. But shouldn't you both be on the same accord in how you raise that child? It doesn't make sense how he has a rule this way and then there's a rule that way. I mean, regardless of the animosity between the parents, we should be on agreement in how we're going to raise this child. And I think that's a super big problem within our community. I'm sorry to say this, but for a lot of women out there, especially in our community, having a child is a hustle. And that's what they're learning from TV. They're seeing all these people do all this. So a lot of women, the child is a check. That's all it is to them. You might have some, guys are always thrown under the bus, but there are some good dads out there. And a lot of dads are getting their children from these really bad moms. So,
well, Donovan, I'm going to tell you this here. Mm-hmm. If the child is a check, you about to fuck up the church's money fucking with Monroe. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm going to fuck your money up. And the thing is, like you say, they should be on the same accord, but okay, you're not together, so somebody had a problem with something. You see what I'm saying? You're not together, but I'm talking about these dudes out here that's setting these bad examples for these boys that's in their life, not the ones that's missing, but the ones that are in their lives that are setting these fucked up examples and then don't understand how their child end up dead by 19 or in the penitentiary.
Let me just follow that up. I'll give a good example. With me in the 2000s, I was mostly away in Iraq and Iran doing my thing, right? Now, but both of my sons have great moms, and I appreciate them, whatever. But I had to tell them, don't make me the boogeyman. Whenever they fucked up, it was like, oh, well, your dad's good. And, that's how it was back in our day. If dad got involved, you were in trouble, but dad was in the house. We're not together like that. So I had to take these women to the side and say, look, don't make me the bad guy in this relationship. Every time something goes down, if you can't handle it at that point, then it comes to me. But this child resides in your household. So you need to handle it as it goes. I was predominantly like a fun dad. You could come out and hang out. We hang out, have a good time, because the time that I had was limited. But it's just amazing to me. And I'm going to stick to this. I don't care what you ladies say. And Demetrius met my mom. My mom is the toughest of tough, Army strong. Okay. Didn't take no shit. But here's the problem with my mom. And I'm looking at some of the comments. Some of you women are saying, yeah, my son, I ain't having it with my son either. There comes a time, and this is me and my mom's biggest problem. There comes a time where your son grows up. I am your child, but I am not a child. And you moms have to let go when that young man becomes a young man and let him go on to do so. My mother and I were both in the military. I became an officer. My mom refused to salute me, which no big deal. You know, that happens a lot within the military when you have family members that are in the military. But at the same time, though, you have to respect the boundaries of that young man. And once that young man goes out there and makes that baby, instead of y'all being the loving grandmother, which is what you should be, don't give this boy a crutch so he can go out and make some more. That's not manhood, because a real man will say, damn, I screwed up this first one. Can't really afford this. I need some help. But I'm not going to go out there and get another one. Demetra?
So yeah, I mean, it definitely takes a village to raise a child. And I saw someone, I think it was Janelle, put that in there. Takes a village to raise a child. And, you know, as a single mom, if you are raising sons on your own, reach out to a male somewhere, whether it's your grandfather, your daddy, your brother, uncle, cousin, some male figure, teacher, I don't know, somebody that you trust to help mentor that young man. But I think it really goes back to what Gary said in regards to a lot of parents making their children their friends. How many times have we seen, especially in our community, Black women with their sons say, oh, he's my king. You know, he's the king of the house. You know, you bestow all these titles and positions on these little boys where they don't even understand what it is you're talking about. And you treat them, you know, like the king and your friends and all of that. And then it comes to comes a day where you don't want him to be that anymore. You want to try to give him some advice or tell him what to do. And because you've given him these false ideas of who he is in relation to you, he's no longer trying to listen to you. And so he doesn't listen to you. And then you end up having issues with him. But, you know, stop trying to be your sons and make him your little man. It's almost, and I don't want to go that far and say it's incestuous, but in thought it kind of is, to try to make this little boy mama's little man. This is, we've all heard it, right? We've all heard women say, oh, this is my little man and he's the man in the house. No, he's not. He's your son, and you need to treat him accordingly, because when he is 16 and he's no longer trying to listen to you be mama's little man, then you're going to have some problems. And that usually means that because he's your little man, you don't have a man around, whether it's his father or a man that you with. So who you going to call on when this little man don't want to be your man no more? And then he's, you know, talking to you all kinds of crazy.
Well, I want to give out some information. You know, we're good at giving out information. And I see my little mama on here tonight, Angela Thompson. So I just want to make you aware, Angela, in case, you know, we ever, in case you ever end up with the deck. So I just want to make you understand this. It ain't but two people in that 3-person equation that's going to get fucked up. You go put that crazy shit in that child's head and send them back over here with me. I'm going to tell you how that's going to happen. When he get to raising up, I'm going to tell you what, homeboy, that's what I'm finna do. I'm finna go drink me by 3-4 glasses of yak. What that mean? That mean I'm going to blame it on the alcohol when I bust your ass. Say, I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't play with no kids, period. I don't give a damn how old mine get. I don't want to kick it with them. I don't want to drink with them. I don't want to smoke with them. I'm not doing none of that. My mama never did that. There were boundaries. There were boundaries. And when I hear people, oh, my child, my best friend, here we go with that bullshit. So I can only imagine how your best friend talk to you. So I'm going to ask you, if that's your best friend, how it feel when you got to bury your best friend? Because they done went out in them streets trying to handle people like they handle you. And then the people in the streets, they ain't responding the way you respond. You know, they going to put that iron on them. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. So I'm just telling you, Angela, got mad love for you, baby. You call me Big Daddy, you my little mama, but you send that child back home, I'm going to fuck you and that child up. I'm not going to make it bipartisan. I'm going to fuck both of y'all up. So I wasn't living in the house with me. Them kids already knew I was crazy. They knew. I made sure they understood I was crazy. But I meant what I said. Remember, one of them upstairs, I done bought her a car. I say, look, don't come in this house after 12 o'clock. No matter what day it is, I bought your car, took it to the school. When they got out of school, the car was parked out there with the bow on it. Bam! 3 days. Come in the house at 12:30. Woke up the next morning screaming and hollering, Donovan. Somebody done stole my car. Now, ain't nobody stole your motherfucking car. I got up this morning and sold that motherfucker. I told you don't play with me. Then went upstairs and got the bumping. Got the run in their mouth. Oh, that's how I go down. Look, I'm old. If I come up them stairs, gonna be trouble. Shut your mouth, gonna be trouble. I don't care what you say. That whole conversation changed when she came down 2 flights of stairs with me pulling her by her ankles and her bumping her motherfucking head on every stair as we were coming down. When you got to the bottom, what did you say? I didn't say nothing. No, you said something. Say, I don't play with mine. Didn't play with them. And they love me to death, and I love them to death. But I drew the line. If you're going to be a parent, issue out tough love and stand on your 10 toes.
Absolutely. True story. My son recently went down. He got an internship down in Miami somewhere. So he calls me, says, Dad, can you help me? Blah, blah, blah. And this is my youngest son. He's 23 years old. I already helped him get his master's through the military. They give him $1,000 a month, all the benefits that I can give him. I helped him as much as I could, right? He said, well, Dad, I want to get this apartment, whatever deal is. And I said, well, nah, I don't do that. I don't take care of grown men. That ain't going to happen. I don't care if you're my son or not. You're a grown man. You're 23 years old now. When are you going to get off of my ass? You know what I mean? So his mom calls me. The mom goes, are you going to help with the rent? I said, well, after talking to my son, I said, I'll help. I'll give you $1,000 and kind of help you out. You pay part of it. No big deal, right? Because he's doing well. He's doing well. So I said, okay, I'll help you a little bit.
You crazy.
A little bit longer, right? She calls me and says, oh, are you going to sign the lease? I said, what? You expect me to sign a grown man? He's a grown man. Let him sign his own lease. If he can't get the apartment on his own at 23 years old, then he don't get the apartment. He's got to come up with other options. But his mother was so adamant about him, going out there, doing what he's got to do. The reality is, if you ain't got the credit, he's a grown man now. Let him do what he needs to do. So make a long story short, Donovan didn't come off of any more money. It all came off the mom. But I had told her, let him stand on his own. He will be much better for it. She still went and bailed him out. I still hear her talking about the money that I didn't want to give. I don't support grown men. Can't do it. Can't do it.
So I see here, Al says he wants to know what's the worst whooping that we've ever caught. I didn't get many. I was one of those kids that you didn't have to tell me twice. I did not like getting a whooping at all. But one of the worst whoopings I can remember was from my father when my sister and my brother and I took off. He didn't know where we were. He was trying to take us back home to my mother's. Hours had went by. What it was we had went down the street to play at a friend's house, and we hear this knock at the door. My dad's standing there in his 3-piece suit with it looked like a whole tree full of switches in his hand. He says, is Demetra, Walter, and Amanda here? And the friend's mom said, yeah, they're here. Open the door, and there he is standing there with those switches in his suit. We had to walk. If you ever been to LA, know how long those blocks are. We had to walk from one end to the other, where he stayed with him holding those switches, leading the way. And when we got there, yeah, let's just say I never did anything like that again. That was our worst whooping that I got.
I was raised by a thug, a little 99-pound thug. It wasn't a whooping that I got. It was the whooping I saw her ish out on my sister. I didn't even want to try it. She called herself running away. My mama said, you ain't never got to run away. Just let me know when you want to go. You ain't got to run away and do nothing. You can go. Well, she run away, so you know a parent gonna be nervous and upset, and she crying all night. But the next day we riding around trying to find her, and the old woman found her. I want to go live with my daddy. She say, you know what? I'm gonna make that happen for you. Man, that woman took that girl to that house, and I don't know if it was belts, switches, hot tracks, because I had hot tracks, whatever. She beat her ass with everything she could find. And then she come out the room, and my sister say, I'm sick of you, I hate you. She say, you should never say that to me. She walked in her room and went got that 45, and all I heard was, blow! She looked at me, I ain't got no problems. I ain't run away, I go to school every day. You did not want to play with this woman, man. She did not play them games. But she honored her wish. She let her go live with her daddy. Told her daddy, this is your problem now. It ain't mine no more. Because she not going to live in my house and disrespect me. So when one of mine ran away and came back, she had, the locks was changed. You can't come up in here. The locks was changed and all they stuff was outside. Now that wasn't but maybe a half a bag. Because the only stuff that you gonna get out of here is what you paid for. Everything I paid for gonna stay here. This how you gonna do me? This how you did yourself. Now please vacate the premises. You are no longer an occupant. Get the hell on. Yeah, that's how it went down over there.
Yep. The Pioneer says the big black belt that they kept hanging on the wall. My parents used to call that the belt of knowledge. Because usually when they reach for it, you remembered everything you were supposed to remember before you got into trouble. So for me, though, the worst whipping I ever got was I went to the exchange, or the BX, which is like the military store. And I was living in Japan at the time. And me and a bunch of my friends went in. And they ended up shoplifting. You know, and I'm just doing my thing, and they rounded us up. You know, the military don't fucking play that, and that's the difference when you're in the military and you're a military kid. What I do affects my parents. So my mom and my stepdad, I mean, you know, they're both military folks. So they round us up. We all get arrested. I don't know what's going on. Find out one of my buddies, a couple of them, were stealing. They call my sponsor. But my stepdad comes down. He's pissed. Mom hasn't found out yet. We get to the other end of the island where we live. I got the worst beating of my life by my stepdad. He took me out in the backyard and put his fist in the middle of my chest, and I hung on to his fist for dear life because I didn't want him to pummel, because he was a Marine. He was going to pummel me again. And he explained to me the reason why I got my ass whooped is because I did not know the so-called friends I hung out with. And if it was any other situation, I could have been killed in the States or, you know, whatever. You know, you got to know the capability of your friends. And I got my ass whipped for stupidity.
I'm liking this new format. I guess it's my time to speak. Yeah, you know, now see, they say when you know better, you do better and all that. And I firmly agree with that. I agree with evolution. I have whooped my child a time or two, not often. But if I had to do it all over again, I probably wouldn't. You know, I got great nieces and nephews now. And I'm like, don't you be whooping on those babies. You don't be putting your hands on. And they always say, well, you didn't say that with us. I'm like, well, you know, I like y'all, but I love them. I'm just playing. But no, seriously. I'm just one of those people. I think we should try to parent with our minds before we do our hands. That's all I'm saying, you know, because at the end of the day, we do teach them violence. You know, my sister, Lord, I remember she got a whooping with an extension cord wrapped all up into the curtain. She rolled up like a burrito trying to get away from the extension cord. My sister was bad as shit, so whether she deserved it, I don't know, but it's not something that I ever wanted to experience, nor would I ever exact that kind of pain on my child. But, I just think beatings per se teaches children to be violent as well, because it's violence at the end of the day. Gary, I know you got something to say. Go on ahead.
Well, get what? I'm different. I live by the old school rules for one reason. I look at these great strains, I'm telling you, if they wasn't as tough as they was on me, I wouldn't be here, because I was a handful, bro. Remember, I stole the goddamn city bus. You see what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, to each his own. In my house, I raised you the way that I was raised. That's the way, like when I coach youth football, I coach it the way that I was coached. So I'm not finna give you nothing. The child, you ain't got no opinion in my heart. I don't need to hear when you can pay some bills around here, your opinion gonna matter. Until then, just ride the wave, homeboy. Ride the wave. Be quiet. Because there are lessons that you can teach when you have to discipline your child. And one of them I call the dice game lesson. It's the dice game lesson. And the kid like, well, what you mean by the dice game lesson? Just think for a second, if you pick up 2 dice, you throw them on the floor, you try to roll your point. Am I right, Donovan? You try to roll your point. If you get out of line with me, I'm going to hit you in your mouth, and your teeth going to be on the ground like them dice. And you're going to be able to pick up at least 2 of them and throw them motherfuckers on the ground. I'm not playing them games. And that's all it boils down to. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. And tough love, especially, I think it's the environment that you're raised in. Where we grew up at, you had to issue out tough love. We wasn't in the suburbs every day. You feel what I'm saying? We was not in the suburbs every day. So that's just the way I am. I'm old school. I'll whoop your ass and don't think nothing of it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm a little on the different side. I do believe that children's opinions do matter. I just think there's a time and a place for them to matter, if that makes any sense. Just me personally, I never raised my daughter to think that is not, I don't care what you have to say. It's all about me. Your opinion doesn't matter. I wanted to hear what she had to say, depending on what the situation was, because there's going to come a time where she's going to be an adult and she's going to need to rely on her own opinions or be able to formulate her own opinions. And I think sometimes, and I'm not speaking about any specifically, but I think sometimes we as parents, we're in the habit of trying to relate to our children. I don't care what you think. Your opinion doesn't matter. If you ain't paying no bills and you don't have anything to say, I don't think that's necessarily true, that if you aren't paying any bills, you don't have anything to say. As I said, I think there's a time and a place, but I was just one of those parents that I wanted to teach my daughter how to think, not exactly what to think. Because like I said, at one point in time, she's going to become an adult and she's not going to always have me around. And subconsciously, we do teach our children by saying stuff to them. I don't care. Your opinion doesn't matter. We teach them that, and they grow up believing that. They have a hard time formulating their own thought process. And so I just think there's a time and a place. Now, if I'm saying something and you want to be argumentative, that's a whole different story. But if you want to express your opinion to me, about whatever it is, I'm open to it, as long as you got some sense. But yeah, but different strokes for different folks.
See, I'm going to have to agree with you, but disagree from a man's perspective. Like right now, people argue with me all the time about, oh, Donovan, when you die, what's going to happen to your money? Who are you leaving it to? Whatever. I'm not leaving anything for my kids. All my liquid assets, I plan to spend all that shit because I work for that. That's what I work for. As a parent, I've done my job. When, my kids don't know what struggle is. I barely know what struggle is. The worst thing that ever happened to me was the government cheese that my mom used to make us, eat, because that's all, that was available at the time when we were just getting started, is after my real father had died. So, when I explained to my kids, hey, look, every time you opened the refrigerator, there was food in there. Every time you went to your thing, you had clothes on your back. I mean, they don't know what struggle is. And as a father, I felt that was a deficit for them as a man, not to know what it is to struggle. Dimitri will tell you right now, for all the riches that I supposedly have, I would be perfectly content living in a park in a tent, because I know what it is to struggle. And that's one thing a lot of our young men lack. That's why they sit on the couch and they just sit there, whatever. So if I died tomorrow, I'm not leaving my boys anything, because they're grown men. Go get your own. That's what men do. Go get your own. If I die tomorrow, everything goes to my mom and my brother. But that's just me. And that's the way I feel it should be, because when I was coming up, nobody left me anything. I went to go get it. And that's just me.
I'm gonna disagree. I don't need your opinion. You can have all the opinions you want the day that you move up out of here. Your job until you can get up out of here is to go to school and make good grades. I don't need you to have a job. I don't need you to do none of that. I'll make sure you got everything you need, everything you want. But I'm not finna sit down and have let me think what little Johnny got on his mind. I might have hurt his feelings. Fuck his feelings. In the world that we living in right now, when you send them out there into the world is eating them up. I'm a prepping for the world. My nephew, Dimitri, I had him at the house, He wanted to be a little wild, do his thing. So one day I told him, I say, man, this how it gonna be. You gonna keep on with that foolishness, you're gonna end up in that place, man. I can handle myself in jail. I say, you could? He said, yeah, I'm telling y'all the truth now. I said, well, I tell you what. Well, what you think gonna happen if I end up in the tank? Well, just imagine if I'm in the tank with your homeboy and I don't know you. Well, what you gonna do? I grabbed him and started trying to pull his boxers off. Take them motherfucking drawers off, nigga. Take them drawers off, nigga. Man, this dude was in there paranoid, but I got him to where they at his ankles. Take them off, nigga. And he was like, oh, Lord. But guess where he at now? Because he wasn't missing. He doing a 30-year bid. And he ain't got his drawers snatched to his ankles yet. So I gave you the information that you needed, homeboy. I gave you the information that you needed. But I don't bother with no kids at all. I don't bother with them. Shut your mouth, do as I tell you. When you turn 18, you get your shit and go. But until then, I don't need your opinion.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's fine. Y'all disagree with me, but I believe that our children should have an opinion. I think they should be heard, And as far as Donovan, I love you dearly. And I see a couple people taking exception to what you said about me. And I know that's nothing new for Donovan. He's going to, well, let me first answer Kay, it's my cousin's question. She says, what about if your child is making inappropriate jokes to you? That's unacceptable. I wouldn't even laugh. You do what you need to do to let them know that's inappropriate. And if you do it again, X, Y, and Z may happen to you, whatever that is. I don't want to, say what that should be. It's per the parenting styles, but no, if it's inappropriate, then there should be a zero tolerance for it. But I want to say this as nicely as I can. I think to teach your children and to force your children to struggle when they don't have to, Lord, forgive me, but that's slave mentality. That is slave mentality to say that your children should have to tough it out because you didn't have it easy. Now, there's a difference between spoiling your children and giving them everything they want and them not having to earn it. But it's another thing to make them struggle and feel the pain and this, that, and the other when they don't have to. See, because you can teach your children lessons without having to attach pain to it. And I'll say this, and I know Dr. Muhammad says not to worry about what white people are doing, but my brother says this all the time. He says, we are the only people that when our children turn 18 years old, we kicking them out the house. Oh, you got to go. Shit, mom and daddy about to be free. I'm about to do me. You better go. How you gonna kick your 18-year-old child? Yeah, chronologically, they're an adult. But how you gonna kick your 18-year-old baby out the house when you probably didn't equip them with the information they need to survive? When we were 18, we weren't equipped to be kicked out of the house with nothing. But other races, they take their children and they keep them home as long. Some people don't let their kids leave until they're married to somebody who's decent. But while they're at home, they're paying for them to go to college. They're teaching them the family business. They are equipping them mentally to get out there in the world and be able to do something. But it is so hard. I was having this conversation with somebody earlier. They were talking about they're trying to recruit salespeople. I said, I'm going to tell you something. It's hard to recruit people to sell when they don't have a source of income, because if they're trying to work off a commission only and they don't have any other money coming in, they're probably going to tap out and go get a job because they don't want to struggle. Well, it's the same concept. Do not send your children out to the world to struggle because you feel like that's what you had to do. No other race does that to their children but us. Now, again, I'm not saying spoil them rotten and don't make them earn anything. Yes, they should earn something, but to kick them out or to make, because like I'll say this, for example, my daughter's 27. She's got a degree. She doesn't have any kids or a man or anything like that. And I've always told her, I know what it's like to go out there and try to fend for yourself and struggle. As long as you're working and, you know, getting yourself together and you're not being lazy, I will take care of you and make sure you have everything you need until you are able to get out there on your own. But the other side of me would say, well, you know what? Nobody did nothing for mama. Mama had to get out there and struggle. Like, why would I do that to her?
Well, let me just say this to clarify that real quick. That isn't what I'm saying, like, oh, they don't get nothing. The thing is, I don't want them to know they're going to inherit $2-3 million. That's what I'm saying. Because by them knowing that, they're going to be like, well, I just got to wait dad out until he dies. Or maybe they even try to kill me. Okay, I don't know. Okay, not saying that's what they're doing. But when you're saying like the struggle, my kids didn't struggle because I did everything that set them up for success. Now, they should have the mentality of, hey, if my dad leaves me something, or if my dad doesn't leave me anything, I'm going to be okay because I was set up the right way. So I agree with you, Demetra, and what you're saying in that parameter, but don't take it out of context. Too many of you guys tell your kids information about what they're going to get, how they're going to get it. And I'm not trying to generalize whatever. And some of those kids are intelligent enough to know, well, damn, I can go fuck up and do this and do that, and I'm still going to be a millionaire. And then, you know, or they're not equipped to take all of that money. Now, and my boys already know that. I tell them that straight out. I've done everything as a parent I'm supposed to do, especially as a father. Now, if I drop dead tomorrow, no, whatever's left is left. But see, I feel that I'm smart enough to say, well, everything goes to my mom. Now, we know Big Mama knows what to do with the money in my absence. You know, my brother's there. My brother knows what I would want to be done. A 23-year-old kid inheriting over $2 million, I don't think that's the thing to do, because what do? Just like, what's his name, Ball told his kids, watch them hoes, keep them hoes out the house. The money's going to be gone just that quick. So I don't want my sons to know the business. The only time they're going to find out what they get is at the will reading. And then you know, they're like, oh, my dad looked out for me. That's great. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm not to say he struggled. Yes, he struggled to a point like, yeah, nigga, get out there and get a job at 16. Get it, but he didn't feel the pain that we felt. So it's a little different, what I'm trying to say.
Now, I don't know who wrong or who right, but in my house, ain't gonna be but 2 grown people in my house. Now, you be 18, you can stay here long as you want. You can stay. The way I raised my kids was simple. If you don't work, you don't eat. I had my own business. So at 13, 14 years old, these kids was learning my business. And they ended up doing the same thing. And when they got 18, they went started their own business. But the thing is my mom didn't put me out the house. But I don't care what you're trying to accomplish. When you get disrespectful, you ain't finna live here. You ain't finna call me bitches and hoes and think you gonna live here. If you do live here, you gonna have some knots on your ass. I promise you that. I'm not trying to deal with no disrespect. Now, I left the house when I was 18 years old. I felt my father prepped me and got me ready. And when I fell off my feet, guess what Monroe did? My mama, you need to come home. I stayed in an abandoned apartment because I said I was a man, and my mama ain't finna take care of me if I'm a man. That ain't gonna happen. And you know what my daddy said? Leave him alone. Because that's what a man gonna do. He ain't gonna run home. He gonna find his way. And it is what it is.
I would just say this. If you are a parent and you have grown children at home with you and they are disrespectful, they are not the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem if you allow a child that's grown to sit at home in your house under your roof for the lights that you pay for, cable, water, all of that, and be disrespectful. They're not the problem. You are for putting up with it. So you maybe need to whoop your own ass for putting up with that. You know what I'm saying? But, and as far as, you leaving your children money, hell, you're going to be dead. Why the hell would you care what they do with the money? Now, on the other side of that, I get it. You don't want them to piss away your money and everything that you've worked hard for. But at some point in time, I would think that you've taught your children how to manage money. You're not going to just, up and die and then, leave them all this money and hopefully and not taught them how to use the money. But I mean, I think we just really need to change our mind frame. Some children, it's like parents talk to them like, how can I say this? Like you're just mad and mad and angry all the time. I'm not gonna leave you this. I'm not gonna leave you that. But how much of a game changer would it have been for any of us if somebody would have left us a bunch of money? If they died or whatever the case is, to change their life. Because somebody mentioned in the comment section, generational wealth. That's how you do it. Everybody else leaves their children something. They train them and they teach them about money. So that way, when they get there, and a lot of people who, if they have a lot of money, they set up a trust fund or something where it's time released over a certain amount of time. You get this amount of money instead of you getting all these, zillions of dollars at once. But, I think we need to start talking to our children in a more productive and positive manner instead of saying, well, I don't trust you. I think you might do something to me. You might put a banana peel on the floor and kill me for my life insurance. Start saying, because my daughter knows what my life insurance policy is. She's known for a very long time. If something happens to your mom, the life insurance policy is, here. And this is what you need to do with it. And I want you to go off and be able to do all the things that you wanted to do. I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to start a business. When she was in school, she was a minor. I want you to pay for college. I want you to do all the things that I would have wanted you to do while I was here. But I never talked to her like, well, don't be trying to kill me and don't do that. Hell,
well, nobody. Go ahead.
Wait, I can't tell her what to do with that money if I'm dead, right? So hopefully while I'm alive, I've taught her the proper way of managing money so that she can leave some money to her offspring.
Okay, right. Now you're coming from a nurturing female perspective, and I respect that wholeheartedly. Men don't think like that. We don't. That's why a man has a problem with a grown-ass son still in the house, and he's trying to get with the mama. There's a problem there because there's another man there. Our species is different. I agree with you in everything aspect that what you're talking about, generational wealth and all that other good stuff like that. However, there's a recent case called Sweetie Pies where the son murdered the nephew. And this stuff actually goes on. I'm not, I know that's far-fetched, but shit like that does go on. But what I'm saying is my sons know that they had a better opportunity than most young Black men. My youngest master's degree at 23 years old, he thinks he's the shit. Okay, you got yours? Go get it. But my point is, I've raised my boys and my nephews. I teach them all the time. Do not be dependent on any man when you're a grown man to feed you. That ain't gonna work. Get your own. Every man gets their own, and that's how you should do it. Of course, like I said, if I die tomorrow and you know, at the will reading, whatever, my sons are still fairly young. My mom and my brother are their guardians. They're gonna distribute the money and do, you know, give them the money when, you know, they know they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But in a lot of our situations, as a man, remember, I wasn't in the home. So I'm not exactly sure their thought process when it comes to the money. My sons are very good with money, but they were getting that from their mother. So as a safeguard that I put in, no, you're not going to get all this money. If I died over there in Iraq, you're not going to get all this money in one lump sum. That ain't going to happen.
Well, I'm sorry. If I can help my child or my nieces and nephews, because they're like my children, if I can help them get to the goal faster, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to make life hard and remind them of how, and I know people do things differently, but I'm not going to remind them of how they need to climb the rungs and, you know, and all of that, and that life ain't easy. If I can make life easier for somebody, I don't care who it is, I'm going to make life easier for them. It's not a, especially
I did make life easier for him. I mean, they're way above the rung, but that's what I'm saying. Because they are way above the rung, I'm not saying go in the streets and panhandle and be in the hood. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying,
well, no, nobody said that.
Get your own. Yeah, get your own. Do what you're supposed to do. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about what mom and dad are going to leave you. Don't have that mentality. Well, I'm just going to worry about what my mom and dad are going to leave you.
I think that's kind of odd that and you know, and you brought up Sweetie Pies, you know, her son Timothy again. That goes back to how she raised him, because from what I understand, she's still sticking by him. She's still, you know, saying pray for him and, you know, trying to get him out. So that was an issue with her. She taught her son somewhere down the line to be a greedy motherfucker, to kill your nephew over some money, and then put a life insurance policy on her to try to. So that's an issue with parenting. But I think if you, and I know this is not your case, Donovan, but I think if you raise your children to, you know, to be respectful, first of all, and focus on other things, like if your children are focusing on like, oh, all this, like the people in Los Angeles, they killed their parents. Oh gosh, their names slips my mind.
Menendez brothers.
Yeah, the Menendez brothers. I mean, they had everything they wanted, and they still killed their parents. So those are different situations. But I think for the most part, if you teach your children, you know what, this is yours to have when I'm gone, but in the meantime, this is how you get to your own money, then I think you'd be all right.
Well, I tell you what, y'all going at it tonight. So Tanaya Smith said abusive parents raise abusive children. Some of those old ways were not good for us, but we have to admit our parents got it wrong on many issues. And I'm going to say this here. Mine didn't. I don't have a problem at 52 years old with the ass whoopings I got. I clearly understand that I deserved them. I understood that she was disciplining me out of love. And every time I do an album, her name ends up somewhere on my album cover. Normally I'll have a car, so I'll put her name on the license plate. When I go through, you know, the virtual graduation for college, I had to lean back on everything that she taught me. And the thing that stays in my head is, son, I only had a 10th grade education. I need you to be better. I need you to be better. So the lessons that were taught to me, I wouldn't change nothing about how it went down. Now, I ain't got to look at Sweetie Pies. I tell you a real life story. Got a classmate, got a nephew. Something happened, the house blew up. They end up with millions. But the mama kind of bad off. The nephew ends up with 5 million. This just happened 5 years ago. 5 million. Broken a motherfucker now. Broke. But now he waiting on 26 million because mom passed away, so he gets all her money. See, all these lessons we got to teach. We got to start teaching them lessons at a young age. I can't teach you about financial literacy when you're 18, 19. I'm going to teach you about financial literacy like I did mine. They had bank accounts at 13, 14. They knew they had to save their money. So the way I set them up is I taught them the game. I taught them the game. I ain't had to. I can't. I'm still here, so I can't leave you $5 million. But I can give you this game so that you can survive. But to say that our parents got it wrong, so our parents got it wrong. We 52, 53 years old. But these parents nowadays burying their kids 14 to 19 years old. But ours got it wrong. Because you got your ass whooped with a switch. Because you done went did something you ain't had no goddamn business. Or you done stole something out the store and she whooped your ass all the way back to the store. That wasn't child abuse. That was parenting. And see, that's the problem, because we changed the blueprint. So all I want you to remember, if you my age, 52, if our parents were soft as a box of booty back then, like you parents are right now, we'd have been the same type of goddamn kid. We'd have been the same way. There's no structure, no discipline in the household. And in my household, when you hit a certain age and you want to be the man and the woman, you can get up out of here and get your own shit. Until then, if you're here, let's get you straight, man. You can stay here as long as you want. But when you become disrespectful, you got to go home, boy.
I mean, I agree 100%. If you're disrespectful in the household and somebody is showing you grace by letting you stay there, and you ain't acting right, yeah, you got to go. As my dad always used to say, let your knowledge take you where your knowledge is going to take you. You can't be up in my house being disrespectful, especially if I'm giving you everything you need and giving you the tools to survive. And somehow, for whatever reason, you're here at home with me and you're just a little too froggy with me. What I want you to do is get your bags and leap the hell up out of my house. That's what I want you to do. And so, again, like I said, I don't fault the kids for being bad and disrespectful as grown-ups. I fault the parent for allowing them to stay there in that condition. I love you, but I love me more. And I love my peace more. And I would love to be able to go to sleep under my roof without knowing I got some disrespectful ass individuals in my house that I'm probably going to wake up to and have to get into an argument over some nonsense. So I'd rather not have you here. I'd rather you go out there and, make it do what it do on your own accord. Also, my dad used to say, if you can't take my advice, you cannot take my money. Okay, so if you can't listen to me, anything I got to say to you, especially if you're living under my roof, don't ask me for nothing. I don't care what it is. Don't ask me for it at all. But yeah, I mean, I think, it's different strokes for different folks, but I do agree with Tanaya. I mean, I want to say our parents got it wrong. I think they did what they knew how to do. I think they knew what was best for them. But, as we evolve, I think we should try our best to do things better. And for me, like I said, putting your hands on the children, I just think that should be a last resort. I don't think, because we know people who, that's the first thing they do, and their child is acting up. Pop, stop, sit down, pop, and it's like, was there so many other things you could have done before you got to that point? And then we wonder why they grow up and be violent.
Well, I can speak for myself in regards. I will tell you this. If my mom wasn't the disciplinarian and whipped ass every chance she got, and she still tries to whip ass to this very day, I would have took advantage of her. My mom was raising two boys, 13 months apart, and we were bigger than her by the time we were in the 5th grade. And I'm still technically a small man. So no doubt I would have taken advantage of my mom right out the gate, but she put that fucking hammer down and whatever. But for my own kids, that's one thing I said I would not do. So unless I absolutely had to. But that's the difference between a man and a woman. It's just our nature is different. Once that young man becomes a man, we respect that and let him go. A prime example, because I know we're getting late real quick. A prime example. Me and my son were talking, and I said, well, he was like, well, Dad, I need this, I need that. I said, okay, that's cool, right? I said, well, I'm getting old, son. Is it okay if I come live with you and your family? Oh, no, Dad, no, you can't come live over here. Well, why not? Well, you got your own, Dad. I got my own family and stuff like that. And that's how men think. We're not going to go to other men and be like, okay, I'm going to be a burden, to my son or whatever. We try to get our own. And don't get me wrong. I'm sure my son will take care of me or whatever. But the mentality is there. And that's the difference between a nurturing mother and nurturing men. Men, we get our own regardless. It doesn't matter. If my mom and parents drop dead tomorrow and they left me nothing, and you know how my mom is, Demetra, she'll leave all her shit to her dog and her cats. It wouldn't affect me because as a man, I got my own. It wouldn't affect me. It wouldn't bother me. I got my one thing I got to deal with is her liquid assets and whatever she left in the house and things of that nature. But when it comes to that insurance policy and the big money, it won't matter. And that's how we should raise our, well, I'm not saying everybody's different, but that's the difference between men and women when it comes to how we look at our especially our boys. They've got to be men. You can't tell them be men in one aspect, but you're my king and you're my prince. No. You're going to go out there and get your own, regardless.
Let me touch upon this comment really quick. I think Gary's having some issues. So Al was talking about Brian McKnight. He had some issues with his grown sons. I guess they were disrespecting Brian McKnight's new wife, being disrespectful, and he cut him off. You know, and I think that's totally okay. If you're grown and you got a new man or a new woman and your grown kids, I'm not talking about no little kids that live in the house, but your grown kids, for whatever reason, can't respect the situation you're in, then yeah, cut them off until they get their understanding right. I'm not living for you no more. I'm with this new boo, whoever it is. If we work out or we don't work out, that's my business. But as far as you being disrespectful to my man or my woman, then yeah, you gotta go to your own house. And you can be disrespectful all you like over there, but in my house with my man, then that's not going to fly. Like I'm one of those people, I have zero tolerance for anything like that. I don't answer to you, first of all. You ain't doing nothing for me. I don't answer to you. But yeah, be disrespectful, you got to go, period.
I'm built different. Certain conversations we ain't gonna have to have because we already know what it is. I ain't finna even have these conversations. You know, you come in my house, you disrespect my wife, I'm gonna handle you. Because if you go to his house and disrespect his wife, what you think he gonna do? See, that's what I tell people because I want them to see it. I think they should try it. You raise them by all them good values. Now, when they go live off in their own situation, won't you go try to live with them and do the shit that they did in your house? They ain't gonna let it happen. They not gonna let it happen. So if you disrespect my wife, you gonna have a problem, partner. But we already understand that because of the way I done already raised you. So some conversations we don't even need to have. It is what it is. To each and every person, you do what you do. You know, but I've been to too many funerals for youngsters to clearly understand that a disobedient child days will be shortened. These kids are not just dying because they just want to die. We're not prepping them in no kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. You hide them out in the suburbs. When they get old enough, they over here in the hood with that bullshit. They want to hang out in the hood. They want to do all this shit they do in the hood, and they ain't built to do it. Take your little ass back to the suburbs, man. Go back out there where you need a pool pass. You see what I'm saying? It's real, man. So if you don't want to discipline your kids, you don't have to discipline your kids. Some of y'all sitting right here, when they start whooping off in your ass, don't be acting like you need mentors and counselors. No, take that ass whooping because you didn't issue none out. Final thoughts, Ms. Demetra.
I want to go with Miss Corliss Johnson. She says, say that, Demetra. Baby, me and my man are good. Me and Bay are good. Baby, we're kid-free. I got rid of all my kids tonight. You won't disrespect Bay or me, period. Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, if your kids are grown and they acting up, then hey, show them the door. Tell them good luck. Make it do what it do. Let your knowledge take you where your knowledge is going to take you.
Because you laying up with a man or you on a date with a man in the house, what the fuck they got to do with this conversation? I'm being honest. I mean, I see these comments every night. What does that have to do with this conversation about disrespect for fucking kids?
Well, the point that the correlation that I'm trying to make with Corliss's comment is that sometimes you got to make that decision. Whether it's a difficult one for you or not, you have to make that decision if it's best for you. If we're talking about some grown kids or whatever, they've been disrespectful, you got to make the decision that's best for you. That's going to bring you peace. Ultimately, I don't care if you got a man in the house or not. It could be you and Kermit the Frog, you and 2 cockroaches, whatever it is. But
you just said don't put them out.
No, I didn't say that. I did not say don't put that. Y'all hear me say don't put them out?
I keep the eviction notices handed me.
No, I'm saying, I said if you got grown kids living with you and they ain't acting right, and they disrespectful, let their knowledge take them where their knowledge is going to take them, and that's out your front door. And let them go live life on their own terms with the knowledge that they have, since they cannot do things accordingly in your house. That's what I said. Now, I said, you got small children. No, you don't put no man over your small children. Whatever the problems you having with your children that are underage, and you need to figure that out. But don't no man come before them. But a man or a woman gonna come before some grown ass kids who ain't acting right. That's what I said, and I stand on that 10 toes all day long.
Well, me, it's simple. The marriage vows, either they fake or they real. You know, the way the Bible is written, when it is what it is, God first, your spouse second. So if they grown and you bumping your motherfucking mouth here, get your shit and get out, man. And hurry up and go before you get your ass whooped. Final thoughts, Don.
Final thoughts. I like the comment by Judge Niall Copeland. He says, single moms are awesome. My mom was strict and did a great job letting me know wrong from right. Moms are there when you need them and can do the job of mom and a dad. And that's very true, because my mom was the epitome of what you just said. I'm going to stand on that. Demetra knows my mom don't take no shit. She's 135 pounds and she swears she could whoop ass all day long till this very day. I'm 50 years old. My mom will get up there and just treat me like a child. And I gotta keep reminding her, Mom, who are you talking to? So all respects out there to you strong moms.
To be a single mom in this climate, and to be a successful single mom, well, your boys just doing average stuff. And that don't mean they not gonna get in trouble, because they kids, they gonna get in trouble. That's what kids do. You feel what I'm saying? What I'm saying is prep them. Give them all the tools and the attributes that they need to be successful. Now, if your child is at home, see, first of all, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm not finna put you through school for 12 years for you to work at no motherfucking Walmart. You ain't finna live here working in no motherfucking Walmart. That ain't happening, homeboy. Mine knew three options: either start your own business, go to the military, or go to college. Bottom line. And if you went to college, you stay here as long as you want. But when you get to coming up in there slamming doors and talking under your breath and, thinking that your teeth ain't gonna fly out your mouth mysteriously, that's when we're gonna have a problem. I don't do disrespect from children, because they are what they are. They're children. And they should stay in their place. No matter what age you become, as a parent, they're still your child. They seem to be your child when they need money, when they go to jail and they grown, when they done fucked up, something ain't right. They your child in. Be my child every day. Because mine know one thing: I will hurt you. I will hurt you. Say, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Another spirited discussion. And we all have different opinions on everything. So it is what it is, man. To each his own. To each his own, man. And on behalf of my man Donovan Sadiq, the Queen Demetra K, I am the 5-star general. Until tomorrow, we'll holler at you.